There are a lot of reasons given why an organization is effective. People talk of leadership, people talk of decision making, coordination, team building, motivation, all the various issues are talked about what leads to greater effectiveness in an organization. But it is people who matter the maximum. How happy the people are. This is what I want to say today, that the happiness of the people in an organization, happiness of the employees, is the greatest indicator of how productive or efficient an organization is. And in this light, one of the major factors which is responsible for the happiness of the people is empathy. Empathy is a much talked about word. We have read about it a lot in management literature. Management literature is replete with talk about how EQ or emotional intelligence, EI, is more important than IQ. They say that 90% of the success is for those people who have got a high emotional quotient and only 10% for those who have only high IQ but do not have a high EQ. So it is people who can have both, that is the best blend if you have. But between the two, it is people with a higher EQ quotient who are more successful. And for emotional intelligence, one of the most important points there is empathy, social relationships, empathy, how you relate with people in the organization. People in whatever form they come to you. People may be your employees, people may be your peers, people may be your boss, people may be your customers, people may be the citizen you're related with in government. This is my experience in government, or in dealing with political people, or dealing with anybody sort of. That is so very important, is empathy, is understanding how the other person thinks, what the other person is feeling. This is what is important. Normally, we are not in the habit of listening. We only speak. And we hear. But hearing is not the important thing. The important thing is listening. And empathy means the ability to listen. Listen to the verbal signals that are coming from a person and listen to the non-verbal signals which are coming. Listen to what the other person is saying and listen to what the other person is not saying. Both are very, very important. If you can do that, then you will develop genuine empathy. There can be a situation when in your organization, an employee, maybe he had been working very well earlier on, suddenly you find there's a dip in his performance. He is not doing very well. One way of handling it is to start punishing him, to start scolding him, start pulling him up. And then you find that when you do that, he goes further and further down. The better way is to try and understand why this is happening to him. And that is, okay, observe him, call him, talk with him, listen to him. And when you listen to him, you'll find maybe there are some issues at the workplace because of which he is not able to perform. Maybe his boss is treating him in a manner that he is feeling insulted and he is not able to feel motivated. Maybe there is somebody in his peer group who is breathing down his neck and making life miserable for him. Maybe some other issues are there. He is not getting the right kind of resources to handle his job. And even beyond that, sometimes it could be maybe his family. He has some problems. Somebody is very sick at home and he is not able to attend to them. Maybe he is feeling depressed because of that. There can be so many reasons why his performance is dipping. So if you have empathy, then you will go into all this and then try and, if you just listen to the person, just give him solace, just give him or her the feeling that no, we are there with you, the organization is there with you. And if there is something at the workplace, resolve that. If there is something in the family place, just ask, what can we do to help you? Even that is enough. Just that kind of concern that you show, that will make that person turn around. This is what empathy is all about. Empathy means putting yourself in the shoes of the other person. If I was the other person, what kind of behavior I would expect? And if you give that kind of behavior, then you are an empathetic leader. And then you will lead to happiness. This kind of empathy will create happiness in the organization, which in my opinion is very, very important. We should talk of happy organizations now. We should talk of happy employees now. As an example, I will tell you, I was in government. A story of how once a retired employee came to me and he was crying literally. He had worked with me earlier. He was even an office superintendent. What was the issue? He was not getting his pension for 2 years. He says, sir, they're making me run around from pillar to post. Well, I was in a position of authority. I rang up and I got his pension cleared within a week. He came to thank me. And that's when I told him, all right, you got this, but think you also worked for 35 years in similar positions. Now think back and say, how many people did you make them run around for small things? Did you resolve their problems? Were you empathetic towards them? And he realized, he said, sir, yes, I've learned this lesson. When I faced it, I realized we at that time used to think that we are talking about rules, regulations, but we are not seeing the human being, how that person is suffering, what kind of sorrow or sadness the person is going through. If you don't see that, you're not empathetic enough to resolve this problem. So empathy is understanding the other person. Empathy is listening to the other person fully. Empathy is a holistic understanding of a human being. And empathy is also, responding in a positive manner to the concerns that the person may be having. And above all, putting yourself in the shoes of the other person. If you have that culture of empathy, you have a happy organization. A happy organization has happy people, and happy people are more productive. Thank you.